I think it's time everyone knows, my husband said, tapping his glass. He looked straight at me. I'm filing for divorce. The room went silent. Then he added something worse. My name is Alyssa Bennett, and I'm 37 years old. I've been married for 15 years old. I've been married for 15 years, no kids. Just shared routines, shared bills, and what I thought was shared loyalty. I worked as an operations manager at a regional logistics company. Stable job. Long hours. I kept our finances organized down to the last cent. My husband Daniel owned a small construction business. He loved attention. He loved being seen as the provider, the big man with the firm handshake and the loud laugh. In our marriage, I was the quiet one, the planner, the one who handled taxes, contracts, renewals, insurance, every single form that needed a signature passed through my hands first. He was the one who hosted barbecues and told loud stories that made people lean in. His family always treated him like the prized child of the family. Whatever Daniel did was impressive. Whatever I did was expected. I wasn't rich or glamorous. I didn't post couple selfies or brag about perfect love online, but I had something they didn't expect. I paid attention. I kept records. And I never signed anything blindly. If you've ever been blindsided by someone you trusted completely, hit that subscribe button right now. Have you ever sat in a room while your whole life shifted in seconds? Tell me in the comments. I'm reading every single one, and click hype if you believe truth always catches up eventually. It was his 50th birthday party. We'd rented an event hall on the east side of town, the kind with dim overhead lighting and round tables draped in white cloth. About 40 guests filled the room. Family, coworkers, neighbors, a few old friends from college. The smell of catered barbecue hung in the air, sweet and smoky. Music played softly from a speaker someone had set up near the cake table. I had organized the whole thing. The invitations, the catering, the playlist he liked. I even picked out his tie that morning. Halfway through dinner, Daniel stood up. He raised his glass and the room hushed. People smiled, expecting a toast, maybe something sentimental, maybe something funny. Instead, he said, I've decided to start a new chapter. Alyssa and I are divorcing. Gasps rippled through the tables. His sister leaned toward her husband and whispered loudly, about time. I sat frozen. My fingers gripped the edge of the tablecloth. He continued, his voice steady and rehearsed. We've grown apart. I need someone who supports my ambition. Then he looked around the room and added, some people don't understand risk. They're comfortable staying small. He was talking about me. Everyone knew it. Guests glanced at me with soft pity in their eyes. His mother, seated at the head table, shook her head slowly like I had failed some test she'd been grading me on for years. I tried to speak. My mouth opened. He cut me off instantly. Let's not make a scene, Alyssa. The humiliation was public. It was calculated. And it was final. I picked up my purse and left through the side door without saying goodbye to anyone. The night air hit my face and I just stood there in the parking lot, shaking. But here is the part nobody expected. The next morning, I woke up to a notification on my phone. His business account had attempted a large transfer. It failed. It failed because it required dual authorization. My authorization. I sat at my kitchen table that Sunday morning staring at the notification. Coffee growing cold beside me. The sound of the refrigerator humming was the only noise in the house. I pulled up the account details and saw what he had been doing. Daniel had been quietly preparing to move funds from our joint accounts into a separate account under only his name. Tens of thousands of dollars, money we had built together. When I called him, his voice was flat, no guilt, no hesitation. It's my company, my money. I reminded him that I co-signed the original startup loan 15 years ago. I reminded him that without my credit score, no bank would have touched him back then. It's silence. He hung up. That was betrayal number 1. Betrayal number 2 came faster than I expected. Within days, his family started texting me, not to check on me, not to ask my side of the story. They had already heard his version and accepted it as gospel. His cousin sent me a message that read, "Why are you dragging this out? Just let him be happy." His younger brother called and said I was being selfish. Daniel had told people I was refusing to let him move on peacefully. He painted himself as the reasonable one and me as the bitter wife clinging to a dead marriage. The following weekend, I attended a family brunch I had been invited to out of pure obligation. Nobody wanted me there. I could feel it in the way conversations dipped when I walked in. His aunt, a woman who had eaten at my Thanksgiving table for a decade, looked me in the eye and said, "A good wife knows when to step aside." I set down my fork. I didn't respond, but in that moment, I realized something clearly. He had already rewritten the entire story. In his version, I was the problem. In his version, he was finally breaking free, and everyone around him had bought it without question. Then came betrayal number 3. Exactly 24 hours after the birthday party, my phone rang. It was a lawyer. His lawyer. The man's voice was smooth and overly confident, like he had made this kind of call 100 times before. "Mrs. Bennett, Mr. Bennett believes a quick settlement is best for both parties. He'll walk away with minimal assets and a clean break." I let the silence sit for a moment. Then I asked one question. Minimal based on which valuation? The lawyer hesitated just for a second, but I heard it. That tiny pause told me everything. Daniel had assumed I didn't understand the company structure. He assumed I was just the wife who filed papers and stayed quiet. But I handled the tax filings for years. I reviewed every quarterly report. I knew the real numbers. Not the ones he showed his friends. Not the ones he bragged about at dinner parties. The real ones. My humiliation didn't turn into anger. It turned into quiet focus. I stopped reacting emotionally. I stopped answering family texts. I stopped explaining myself. And I started reviewing documents. What they didn't know, what none of them ever suspected, was that I kept copies of everything. Every loan agreement from the very beginning. Every profit report submitted to the bank. Every email where Daniel casually admitted to cash jobs done off the books. For years, I had saved digital backups to a secure cloud account registered under my name only. Cash payments from clients that never appeared on official records. Subcontractors paid in envelopes to avoid payroll taxes. Numbers that didn't add up when I cross-referenced deposits against invoices. I asked questions back then. He brushed me off every single time. "You worry too much, Alyssa. You worry too much, Alyssa." That's just how the industry works. I didn't argue. I didn't push. But I documented. Quietly, carefully, consistently. Every receipt I found suspicious. I photographed. Every conversation where he mentioned unreported income, I noted the date and the context. I had a folder with years of evidence sitting in a cloud server he didn't even know existed. I had a plan they never saw coming. If Daniel tried to erase me financially, the truth wouldn't stay buried. It would surface on my terms. I picked up my phone and called the one person I knew would understand exactly what I was dealing with. His name was Mr. Howard Klein. He was a semi-retired attorney who had handled Daniel's father's estate years ago. He knew the Bennett family. He knew how they operated, how they closed ranks, how they protected their own and discarded everyone else. When I explained the birthday announcement and the rushed settlement his lawyer had proposed, Mr. Klein went quiet on the other end of the line. Not confused, not surprised, just quiet, the way someone gets when they're already thinking 3 steps ahead. "Bring me every document you have," he said. His voice was calm but firm. 2 days later, I sat across from him in his small downtown office. The walls were lined with old law books, and the air carried the faint smell of leather and printer ink. He reviewed the files slowly, turning pages with the patience of a man who had seen every trick in the book. His expression shifted from neutral to deeply serious. He removed his reading glasses and looked at me. "He's underreporting income," he said, "significantly, and you're legally tied to it." My stomach dropped. That meant if this ever exploded, if anyone ever audited the business, I could be implicated too. Unless I acted first. Unless I got ahead of it. Meanwhile, Daniel grew more arrogant by the day. He told mutual friends, "It'll be over soon. She won't fight. She never fights." He assumed I would accept whatever scraps he offered and disappear quietly. He believed the party humiliation had broken me. He believed I was too embarrassed to push back. In reality, that night at the party didn't weaken me. It sharpened me. Every sideways glance, every pitying look, every whispered comment from his family had burned away the last bit of hesitation I had left. The settlement meeting was held in Mr. Klein's office on a Tuesday morning. The room was small and quiet, with a rectangular table and 4 chairs. A clock on the wall ticked steadily, and outside the window, traffic hummed along the downtown street below. Daniel walked in confident. He wore a new blazer I had never seen before. He barely looked at me as he sat down. His lawyer, a younger man with a leather briefcase, slid a stack of papers across the table toward me. "Standard division," he said, tapping the top page. "We believe this is fair and efficient." I didn't touch the papers. I folded my hands on the table and waited and waited. Mr. Klein adjusted his glasses and spoke calmly, like he was discussing the weather. "Before we discuss the division of assets, we need to discuss some reporting discrepancies." He opened a folder and placed printed financial records on the table, one page at a time. Bank statements, invoices, deposit records that didn't match filed tax returns. "These cash payments," Mr. Klein said, pointing to highlighted lines, "were never declared." Daniel's face changed. The confidence drained from his expression like water through a cracked glass. His jaw tightened. His eyes darted to his lawyer. His lawyer stiffened in his chair and cleared his throat. "We'd need to see proof before we entertain any of this." I listed specific invoices with amounts that never appeared on official filings. I referenced subcontractor payments made in cash with no record on payroll reports. Every word I said was backed by a document sitting in the folder in front of Mr. Klein. "If necessary, this information can be reviewed by the appropriate tax authorities. We would prefer not to go that route, but we will if we must." Silence filled the room. The clock ticked. Nobody moved. Daniel leaned toward me and whispered, "You wouldn't." I looked at him directly. "You embarrassed me in front of 40 people at your birthday party." "I'm protecting myself in private." The power in that room shifted completely. His lawyer requested a recess. They stepped into the hallway. I could hear low, tense voices through the door. Within an hour, the tone of the entire meeting changed. The new offer included half the full business valuation, retirement accounts split equally, and complete legal indemnity clearing me from any liability tied to unreported income. Daniel didn't look at me as he signed the papers. The divorce finalized quietly. No dramatic social media posts. No public battles. No interviews or gossip columns. Just paperwork, signatures, and silence. His family stopped calling. Every single one of them. The same people who pitied me at the party, who whispered behind my back, who told me a good wife knows when to step aside, they now avoided eye contact if they saw me in town. I moved into a smaller home closer to my office. 2 bedrooms, a little garden out front, and a kitchen with windows that let in the morning light. I felt lighter, not because I won. Not because I took something from him, but because I didn't let myself be erased. Daniel's birthday announcement was meant to humiliate me into silence. It was meant to make me small enough to push aside without resistance. Instead, it revealed who I really was. I wasn't the obstacle in his life. I was the structure holding it all up. And once that structure was gone, he felt every bit of the weight. If someone ever embarrassed you in front of others just to make themselves look powerful, you know exactly how that moment feels. That burning silence. I want to hear how you responded when someone tried to control the narrative and make you the villain. Subscribe if you believe silence doesn't mean weakness. And click hype to help this story reach others who need to hear it today. Did this story hit home? Let me know by liking the video and sharing your thoughts in the comments. Click hype to help this story find others who felt the same way. Your support makes a huge difference.